Welcome to Ascension with V, where we talk about spiritual awakening, ascension, and everything in between. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we have a special guest who's about to take us on a journey with their unique gifts and experiences. Kysondra, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you, and let's dive into your spiritual awakening process. Tell me about it.
Well, as you know, I've been your hairstylist before I moved for years. That's how Stashia met. Honestly, I was kind of, as far as the spiritual awakening, I was kind of like a little into it, kind of getting into it, but like Stashia really pushed me off that cliff. I was sent here for you. You're going to do this whether you like it or not. And now we in the thick of it together. It's been, as I'm sure Stacia said before, it's not all love, light, and rainbows. It is tears. It is sweat. It is lots of suffering, lots of, letting people go that you don't want to let go. And that I think is the hardest part because I'm sorry about my dogs. I don't really
Yeah.
let people in. And when I do, I tend to hold on to them, sometimes knowing that they're not the best for me. But Stasia's like, hey, like, cut it. Yeah, it's
Let it go.
yeah,
Let it go.
also let it go. It has been rough, but at the same time, it's been very rewarding too. So, it's harder for me to see my growth than for other people to see my growth. But I have noticed things of like, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but bullshit that I won't put up with anymore versus when I did before. And, like that kind of stuff. But yes, being more in tune with, my empathic side and learning, but knowing how to control it better in the sense of you can't give that to everybody, and just kind of hone in on really reading people's energies and just being like, ooh, bad vibes. So
Mm-mm. So tell me, I know, like, obviously you and I know, but tell me in the audience what your most challenging part was when you and I met that, like, you would say I made you face or deal with throughout this process. Like, what was the thing that every time you saw me, you were like,
the breakup. You already know the breakup with the Virgo. You already know. And then the aftermath of just like, I still will forever remember to this day that when after the breakup and you walked in and you're like, I could sense your energy before I saw you. You're not okay. And I'm like, no, okay. What do you mean? I'm ready here.
pungent, like literally as soon as I like rounded the corner into the salon, I was like, it was like the potent energy of she feeling rough today.
Yeah. 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 But that's
Yeah.
specifically for sure.
How come that was such a challenge for you that like I feel like it was the emotional like wall thing that you wanted to like have up, and I felt like every time I saw you and came to the salon or whatever, like I was coming in there with like my jackhammer. We're getting through this wall today.
I'm an
We gonna talk
Aquarius.
about
What do you
this.
mean? We have the walls 25 feet high, 17 inches thick, with a moat around them. What do you mean?
That's so
Aquarius,
that's
we
just
don't
like
talk about emotion. No, absolutely not. No. Makes me sick. Yeah. No. But that's why I don't learning to talk. And then I was also like going through therapy at the times that I had to talk about my emotions on a professional level, on as far as like, from a therapist, and then on the spiritual level, I was just getting hit from every fucking where. And I was like, I hate it. And you're
But
acting like I hate this. What do you mean? What do you mean?
what do you mean? You know exactly what I mean. Come on over here asking me these questions. You know the answer. Don't
Right,
don't don't
right, right. Yes.
but this this is a topic that I think a lot of people gloss over in general, where they feel like you said, everything is just love, light, and rainbows, and it's really not. You get sent situations or people or things that are meant to send you on your highest, put you on your highest path. But in order to get there, you go through these processes that break down the things that are inherently blocking that path. And, and again, like I said, it's like I arrived and I was like, ta-da! Here I am with the jackhammer and the axe and all the things, and we're breaking down walls. And then I was like, come with me if you want to live. And you were like, I don't want to live. And I was like, but you gonna come with me, and
They're meant call it for what it is.
you gonna come with me.
They're meant to hurt you so you can grow.
Yeah.
They are painful, and that shit hurted. I hate it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it here. But I
No,
mean,
but literally from the go ahead.
go ahead.
From my perspective, it wasn't hilarious in the situation, but it was hilarious your reaction to me, like, throughout the process. Literally, it was fighting tooth and nail. You were belling the process, but also at the same time, your soul was, please help me. Which is also, I feel like I've said this to you multiple times. I feel like you're the epitome of a complete oxymoron of, please, I want the physical affection and touching, but get away from me. Don't talk to me and don't talk about feelings and emotions. And this is how your soul and your physical body was in this whole process. Your soul was like, please help me. I want to ascend. No, I'm meant for more than this. And then your body was like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta go with what the soul wants, man. I'm sorry. This is what we doing.
Right. Yeah. 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 I wish you ever see this here.
But it's literally that. That was your entire face and demeanor through the entire process. You were like,
Yep. And still am some days. Still am some days.
yes, but through it though, the amount of things that I saw you from starting point A, where again, it was you said, of with this shitty Virgo guy, and the way that you were and the interactions that you guys had, that whole dynamic, then from starting point you then to even a few months later, there was significant growth and changes within you, where, and then you were even getting to the point to where you were catching yourself. You were like, I don't know, I feel like this is a bad idea. Even when you would sometimes miss him, if your higher self would be like, no, the fuck we don't. And again, it's growth. It's growth,
Right.
and again, now look at you. I know you said it, you don't see you where I see you and where other people see you, but like, it's a significant difference. And you got here through the really painful experiences, the growth, the lessons, the suffering, the pain, the trauma, the trials and errors. And like, that's what we call rite of passage, initiation. That's you got the stamps of approval and the seals of indictment of doing the things, because you went through the process the way that you were supposed to.
Right.
And there's no cheat code through it. You
Right.
did it the right way, in the hard way. And now you have this very stable foundation within yourself, deep rooted in self-love, that now you can cultivate into your higher self as you are right now. You did that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to tell you though, a couple months ago, I had a dream that him and I just had a conversation, like just a normal, like no fighting, no anything conversation. And this was literally me when I woke up. I was like,
Literally the face, like,
because for one,
no,
so I know that a civil conversation between me and him would never happen at this point in time.
would
And
never
I'm
happen.
just like,
Never.
no, no.
No. And it's, and again, it's this thing that could have been his soul trying to call you in. Listen, that's something that I also want to talk about is this is a real thing when you have, especially how long were y'all together?
2 years.
Yeah. When you're with somebody that long, like the souls have a way of staying in communication with one another. You know, they can talk. And when you have gotten so far away, like they do this thing of trying to summon you back in the spiritual realm or through dreams or through telepathic messages or through sending you memories or something of them. Do you know what I mean? To try and pull on what remaining ties or cords or bonds or whatever the case may be to again try to lure you back in, and I just feel like it's because it's always when you doing good. You know what I mean? It's always when you're like I'm learning the waves, the ebb and flow of life. I'm doing good. I'm loving myself. Like this is fine. I love it here. We're good. That's when they're like,
Right.
"Hey, so you remember me? Hey, real quick. Hey, hi. How you doing? How you been?" It's always that line. How you been?
Right.
Fine without you.
Right. I just want you to know I miss you. Feeling is not mutual. Feeling is not mutual.
It's fine. I'm good though. Like I didn't need to hear that. Nobody was thinking that.
Right. Gracias, pero fuck no.
Deuces, please. Like all disrespect. Fuck no.
Right. Yeah.
It's this though. It's a real thing. Again, like I said, especially when you've had like a deep soul tie or a deep soul bond, whether it was just like a karmic relationship where it was just meant to teach you something, or set you on your highest path or break you so that you could emerge into your highest self, whatever the case may be. Anytime that you have a deep connection and bond with someone, again, there is that thing. And people will say, I did cord cutting and I did this and I did that. But like, if it's truly a deep one, you can still have reminiscences. But again, your level of growth shows with how you respond to it. And again, your immediate thing was
Yeah.
because you've grown,
Yeah.
because you've grown. And that's even better because even if you were to resurface in like in physical, it's the same thing. There is no heartstring to pull you in and be like, oh, let me just forget all the things that I've learned
Yeah.
because you've grown.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a painful lesson, but it's a lesson that it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Now look,
Yeah. I'm just glad that it happened before I moved to Atlanta, and B, like, the possibility of like even marriage was coming up. So I'm glad it happened before all of that. So it was much easier to get out
right,
versus it would have
right,
been after if things would have progressed.
right.
So
Do you feel beyond him, any of the other relationships that you had were also like I say this thing where like the same lesson can come in different forms to see how much you've grown. Do you feel like you could recognize him in any of the people that came after him? Or
not after him. There's one that I told you about, the Scorpio, that I can't to let go to he still crosses my mind and everything like that. And it's been years, like 5, 6, 7 years. And he would be the one
right,
that I'd be like, what was that I learned again? I don't remember.
yeah.
He would be the one. He would be the one. But outside of that,
And okay,
if anything, after the Virgo, it's been like
Yeah.
immediate. I get the ick, I cut that shit off. I'm like, it almost comes too quick now.
Okay.
So now I'm on like
Really?
opposite end of the spectrum of where I don't put up not even just bullshit, but even if it's like the tiniest, pinkest, like most baby Pepto-Bismol pink flag, I'm out.
I'm out. But you do feel like it gave you kind of a heightened sense of being able to, you put your feelers out though to say like, oh no, I know what that is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, again, I think that's also something that needs to be celebrated because that means literally you have grown enough to develop that and to recognize the same kind of pattern or traits in other people that, again, is nope, not in alignment, not for me, that's some bullshit. I'm not going to do it type of situation.
Right. Even if it's not like actual bullshit, but it's just something that I'm like, as soon as I make that face, I'm out. Yeah. As soon as I make that face, I'm out.
As soon as the face happens, I gotta go, man.
That's it.
I think it's funny because literally that's me with essentially anything across the board now. Literally, like anything. Doesn't even have to be like potential partners, potential platonic friends, anything, opportunities, situations, environments. Literally the same thing. As soon as like say I like walk into a room or a business and I'm like, gotta go. It's not for me. I'm good.
Yes.
And again, that's you being able to use your gifts and abilities to again detect the energies and cognizantly decide, is this energy, person, place, or thing in alignment with my highest good or in alignment with me? And if the answer is no, immediately you're like, I gotta go.
Right.
Props. Kudos.
Yep.
So my next question is also something that I guess it's everything I talk about on here is like the controversial taboo rabbit hole shit anyways, but it's a thing that I also don't feel like is talked about frequently enough, and it is I don't know what the correct terminology would be for this, but it goes off of, I'm segueing from you speaking on the Scorpio guy and how you would react towards him. I've said it to you before, and I'm gonna just use the terminology. Like that's that demon dick. Like it's like but is it there's a there's no other reason why this person got a hold on me. You know what I mean? And there's always a person. And for anybody who listens to this, I beg you to really search in your life and think in your mind, if you can't recall one person in your life where you were like, damn, they wasn't shit, but damn.
But it was honestly like, yes, the demon dick, but it was also more of like the connection that we had, like, the good memories, the laughs that we had, that almost like makes me want to outweigh the pain and everything that I went through with him. Because that's what I remember. And I mean, obviously I remember everything else too, but that's what my mind chooses to remember. And if I were to see him in person, I don't even know how I would react, to be honest with you. I have no clue.
And see, that poses so many different things that it could literally stem from. It could literally stem from he's good with that energetic manipulation or just in general manipulation at all. And it's everything that you want them to be. And it's just, or it could just, it literally is, it's the combination of the connection that happens when you're intimate with somebody, right? And then it then makes your mind only focus on the same things memory-wise that gave you that same dopamine feeling. Or disregard all the things that didn't give us the dopamine hit, the pain, the suffering, the fights, the arguments, whatever the case may be, right? But like, let's focus on these memories that did give us the same kind of dopamine hits as the intimacy and all the passion, right? I don't know. what it stems from, but you're not the only person that has this. Like I said, I beg everybody who listens to this to think of one person from their lifetime that they've had like any kind of relationship with, where more so than not, like it was toxic, it was not a healthy relationship, and they were a lot more not great times than there were really great times and really healthy times. But yet and still, you would question heavily, like, but would I get back with that person, or would I let that person
I probably
smash
would.
again?
Probably would. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie to you. Actually, there's no probably about it. I definitely would. Definitely.
It's the swiftness in which you're like,
Yeah.
more than likely though. Like, yeah, like there's not even a probably. Like,
There's not even a
yeah.
for sure. Yes. Yeah. I'd be welcome back with
But but
I'm so serious, though. I'm so serious.
he would be welcomed back with open arms and open legs.
Yes. Yes. Spread out like a starfish. Yeah, but honestly though, like what I think it is with Scorpio is, aside from the fact that he's Scorpio, is as much as I talk shit about Scorpios, I low key just something about them. I'm like,
Man, man.
but like when I be on dating apps and stuff, and like I can smell them. I'm like, I know this man is a Scorpio. It's in his bio. I'm just like, swipe right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that one in particular, what I think it is we all have, like, you've heard of like the three loves that you have throughout your life. Of like, you have like your first love of like, you're in high school, whatever. You have your first like real love, and then the person that you marry. He was that.
Right.
Even though, yes, it was toxic, yes, it was unhealthy, he was that for
Wait, which one was he?
Scorpio. He was the second one, because I had my first love in high school, but I'm like, that's no. But the first real, at least it was real for me, and that's where the
Yeah.
emotional is, and that's where I invested so much into him emotionally,
Yeah.
physically, sexually, and I literally gave that man my all. And again, it
Yeah.
been real to him, but it was real to me, and for that I will probably never be able to let him go. I would love to. I've tried, but
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think the equivalent for me would be the Aries from a while ago. I think I told you about him, like without bringing up, because names be just calling folks out here.
right.
Ring, like no, but it was like the same thing. We had met in college for the first time, and immediately, like when I saw him and like he saw me immediately, it was like immediate magnetic
Yes.
thing. And then we were super close in college, like, but he had a girlfriend, or I don't know if was he engaged? No, I think she was still just his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend, and so we were just really close friends in college. We had like one or two classes together, but he was the bad boy. And so then after, whenever I dropped out of college, I didn't see or think about him again. But then, like, we randomly ran into each other at I got pulled over at down the street from my house at like a Weigel's. And as I pulled in, like, he happened to be parked there with his friend. Like, he just came out from getting gas, and I was like, he's like, what are you doing? It was like, again, the universe kept randomly bringing us together. And again, at the time, I don't even know. Again, it was a brief meeting point time. And then we didn't talk again. And then the last time was after I had moved back to Knoxville from Cleveland and had broke it off with the guy that I was engaged to. And then he had just gotten divorced from that girl from college. And it was just the meeting of both of us at really terrible points of our life. But like same situation. I mean, I loved that man. I loved him. Like loved him. And I almost died in the process of trying to save somebody who did not want to be saved. And I think this is again something a huge point that people need to hear and know about, because it's a real thing. You're loving somebody, even if you have the most pure intentions behind it. You can pour your love into someone continuously all the time, but if they don't want to do the right things, and if they don't want to grow, and if they don't want to heal, like I said, like he was going through a lot. He was like into the drugs, and and I was lowering myself to stay connected to him. You know what I mean? And like it literally was a like fatal attraction type, not even like fatal attraction type stuff, but it was just, he was very narcissistic. And again, knowing now, hindsight,
Right.
hindsight. But it was like, again, the classic narcissist empath
Yeah.
relationship.
Right.
And he had there was no cap on how much he would take from me. And there was no cap on how much I would give to him.
Yeah.
And it was, but at the same time, like he loved me in his own effed up way, his own like narcissistic way. And like, again, I was all into it. It's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. And I don't know if it was just the combination of him and the drugs and things, but there were times where, he and I had like fist fights, like knockdown, drag out fist fights. And that's the first time like a man has ever put their hands on me, even though like I'm not no punk, and I've never been, that's that Aries rising in me, and he was Aries sun. So like it literally was like Clash of the Titans up in that piece all the time.
Yeah.
And there was one time where he had like thrown me into a wall, and I pushed him down the steps, and he was just like standing there looking at me, and I was like, yo, this is not love. And he's like, what are you talking about? I do love you. I do love you. Like, no, man, this ain't it.
Right.
This is not it. This is not. I was, and he's like, you try to say that I don't? Yes, because what is this?
Right.
I said, you're supposed to honor and love me and protect me. He's like, I didn't like hit you like, he's like, but he's like, you got in my face. And I was like, yeah, but listen, this is a regular occurrence that's happening between us frequently.
Right.
Where we're having screaming matches and fights, and the more times that we're not having it is becoming less and less. And again, I'm pretty sure the drugs was a heavy contributing factor to it, because we were together for 8 or 9 months. So the first 4 months, he wasn't in the depths of it with the drugs. And that was the time where best relationship ever. But I also can't vouch for whether or not that's just him being like hiding his narcissistic self.
Right.
So I don't know. I can't vouch. All I know is that it took me forever, and I did. I almost lost my life, and I almost tried to take my life multiple times while I was in that relationship with him, because it was so toxic and it was so bad, and I was just spiraling, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And I didn't want to. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't want to let him go.
Yeah.
I did not want to let him go. And then I remember he told me one time, he's like, I don't want you doing the things that I do because I love you too much. And you're an angel. And he said, he's like, you're an angel and I'm a demon. And he's like, and I want you to stay on that angelic path. I don't want this for you, And I remember I said one time, I was like, I want to be bad for you and with you so that I can stay with you. And he was like, no. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was his own like really fucked up way of loving me. But it was just hindsight. It was bad. It was. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it for anyone. But while you're in the thick of it, I mean, it's not to mention the sprinkle, the whipped cream, and the cherry on top of it was like the sex was fire. The sex was fire. Like, yo, man, listen. Every time we had sex, like I immediately was like, what issues are we having at all? Ever?
What are problems? Anything? It's like that meme.
Like, I don't
It's like that meme of DJ from Arthur when she's looking at the sign and she's like, "Good thing I can't read." Yeah,
literally
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah. Well,
literally this.
but that's why I
Lit-
always say too. It's
literally
like
this.
that's why I always say too is like love is just the bare minimum, but it's not enough. Like you have to wake up every day.
Man,
You have to excuse me, you have to wake up every day, choose your partner. You have to choose to respect your partner,
yeah.
protect your partner, love your partner. Like there's more to it. Love is just the it's the coding around all the ingredients that are inside of what needs to happen. Yes, it's the I wouldn't even say it's the foundation. I think I would say it's more like the roof of a house. Like the foundation needs to be that common respect, that then the outside, the
Right.
protection and everything. Love is just it's the wrapping on the gift, but it's not the actual gift. That's just
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, I always say love is not enough.
No, not all. Again, like I said, all jokes aside on it, it was a really eye-opening experience for me, and it took me a good 3 or 4 years to get past it and get over it. Honestly, and, and again, even still now, there'll be times where, our iPhone or, like, Google will do those things, memories from X, Y, and Z, and sometimes I wish they would stop doing that shit. Man, I forgot that happened. So but, like, there'll be times where it'll, like, show pictures of us or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh," but then I'm like,
Yeah.
it just, yeah, and I think for anybody that is in like if you number one, if you have to question like am I in this kind of narcissistic toxic relationship, more than likely the answer is probably yes, because like I feel like you should never have to question that at all.
If it's healthy
And
to
again,
question it, right?
right, right. Like if you're in a healthy, like mutually beneficial, mutually respectful
Trust.
relationship,
Yes, yes.
you're never going online Googling symptoms of narcissistic abuse. You're never
What is love
Googling
bombing?
narcissist. Right. You're never going on being like, what are the symptoms and signs of being love bombed? How do I know if I'm being gaslit?
Yeah.
That was another thing I remember he was doing. And then it would be like hit or miss also on times where like he fully believed in my emerging spiritual gifts, but only when it wasn't directed towards him. I'd be like, so I feel like you're lying to me. Oh, so you're using your intuition now on that? Like it's not always right. You know what I'm saying? But when it had anything to do outside of what was going on with him, it was like, I believe in that shit. Like I believe in aliens. I believe in, other worlds and dimensions and all the things. But like anytime it was something that had to do with him, you're back on that shit, it was
For him.
again, like I said, correct,
Yeah.
correct. It's the hindsight again of knowing these things, but it's a real common thing, especially with really highly sensitive people out here in the spiritual world and community, especially if you're just now like emerging and your gifts and abilities are just now emerging and you're blessed with the gift of clairsentience or I say clairsentience is being an empath times 10,
Mhm.
that's crack to narcissists. It is. And if you don't have the strong boundaries and if you don't have like a full knowing and who and what you are and self-love and respect for yourself, you will immediately give your power away to them and let them tank you. I mean, immediately, because again, they don't have any limit on how much they take from you ever.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was my whole experience with it. And again, like I said, if faced with the question of like, if he like showed up at my front door right now, and was, hey, I missed you and all the things, immediately I'd have the flashback of like the really good sex. But again, just because really there were multiple times throughout that relationship where like I actively tried to take my life. Like I would be like, I'm good. Just because of that. Like just because. Like
Right.
mm,
Right.
mm, mm, meh, meh, you know. But it does, like, looking back right now, it does very much beg the question, like, did I love him, or was that just an experience? Like, was that just full manipulation? Like,
I think,
what was this?
like you said it earlier, in y'all's own fucked up way, it was good,
Right,
but again,
right,
love is just the bare minimum. Everything else, you had one good ingredient in your cooking, in your meal, everything else was trash. Everything else was
trash,
rotten. Everything else
trash.
was no, everything else was beyond moldy. There was no there was no obviously there was no respect. There was no communication. There was
Yeah,
no nothing. Like, no. So
yeah,
I think, and same with the Scorpio, like I think especially on my end, it was love for me, but it was,
right,
for one, it was only one-sided. And then for two, there was no trust, there was no communication. And I think also in his own fucked up way, he loved me, but he didn't love me how I wanted, needed, and deserved to be loved. So,
right.
but
Like
now he's married, so
what was
whatever.
whatever. What was his display of love? Like I said, like mine was, it was he was protective. Now that was one thing about it. He made sure that if anything was going on with me, he'd be like, are they messing with you? What's going on? What happened? He was very, which is what I said, like it was like a walking oxymoron. Like he was very concerned about my well-being, but at the same time was destroying me.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what I mean? Like it was almost like only I can hurt her.
If that's not a narcissist, I don't know what the fuck is.
Again, the hindsight of it, but what was your thing? Like, what was your equivalent with when in that scenario?
Ours definitely was the physical displays of a touch, but he wasn't very, which also was a red flag, but he wasn't very touchy-feely out in public. It was just like behind
Mm,
closed doors, and then like just the quality time that we had together. Like when it was good, like we were laughing, we were, cutting up,
yeah,
everything like that. Like we have the same, or I don't know, probably a totally different person, but at that point in time, we had the same kind of like sense of humor, and like just that chemistry was like you said, it was instant. From like, I knew
yeah,
that I loved him on the first fucking date. Like I was like,
yeah,
I'm in this, like this, like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think the other thing
yeah,
was like we had been through some shit, not even just with us, but life in general. Like for example, his best childhood's friend, his older brother, died. And aside from my stepdad, like breaking down, finding out when his mom passed away, I have never seen a
right,
man cry like that. And I
right,
think that that just did something to me. I don't think, I know it did, of like, I want to take him, I want to take care of him, I want to protect him, I don't want him to hurt anymore, and that nurturing
same,
side came out. And it honestly, for him to be that vulnerable with me, even if he didn't intend
right,
to, it made me fall in love with
right,
him even more.
right,
So yeah.
right, right,
But I think
right,
kind of like, especially since he didn't intend to, because he was with me when he got the news, I think it was like it kind of made him like, shit, I shouldn't have. been so vulnerable with her and like let me kind of back up after that fact.
Real back.
But we were like, I mean, we were kind of like, we were never officially dating, but we were dealing with each other like off and on. And like, he would just come in and out of my life. And yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the trauma bond vibes. So you went through some shit and then I went through some shit and then now let me take care of you, it's this is a weird question, but I also want to know, were you ever at the point where you actively tried to procreate with him? Like never.
never.
Yeah, see, that's also a that's also a difference with me. Like again, like I was like actively trying to have this man's child. Like I really wanted to be with him. I really wanted to be with him. And then he even said it. He's like, I don't think it's gonna happen. He's like, because I'm not right for you. And I'm not the same kind of being for you. Like he would say it frequently. And I think it's one of those things where I said this to you before, where like there's like a an angelic being code, like we are not allowed to interfere with free will. Like there's rules and regulations in place for spiritual beings, intergalactic beings, mystical beings, and creatures that they have to abide by, kind of like universal laws, right? So, but in the demonic realm, there is such a thing where they have to blatantly tell you, like, honestly, what it is that they're going to do to you, who they are, what they are. But it's just that usually, like, you're so infatuated with them that you don't believe it. But it's kind of like what the government does. They will put the truth out there in plain sight because universal law is requirement. You have to tell people what you're doing to them, especially if you're playing in that lower vibrational realm. I'll just put it in that term. You're required by universal law to tell essentially your prey, your victims, what it is that you're doing to them. And so the government will frequently put the truth of either what's to come or what's happening or what's going to happen in plain sight, whether it be in movies or whether it be in commercials or ads or whatever the case may be. The prime example would be if you listen to those medication commercials, the entire commercial is literally just them telling you death will cause, literally. But they have it to some jingly little tune and everybody's happy. So you're not really paying attention to the truth that's being put in front of you.
Right.
It's the example of this, but universal law requires beings and entities that operate on lower vibrational planes to tell you exactly what they are, who they are, what they're going to do to you, right? And so frequently he would say, like, it's because I'm a demon, and he's like, we can't procreate, we can't do that, or he would frequently he would say these things, and and I was just, oh, I can save you, I can change you, I can heal you. There's hope, and no, like it's okay. Yeah, like I said, all of it is like obviously hindsight. This was years and years and years ago, but it is interesting to know that he, like I said, in our own kind of like very fucked up way, the man cared, but in it is he followed the proper procedures and protocols, at least.
Right.
He played by the rules, and I can't, even to this day, I can't say. Also, even when he was doing in the worst of it, he would tell me, I can't lie to you, and I don't want to lie to you, and he would tell me exactly what's going on. He was very open and honest with me on the things, and I had to give respect to that. At no point was he ever just on bullshit with it.
Right.
But again, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. But yeah. Anyways, what else do you want to discuss before we head off of here? All right, well, we'll wrap it here, but I want to thank you for coming on and having the girl talk of all the things, talking about the journey and talking about this episode is definitely going to be about the toxic relationships and healing from narcissism, because it's a real thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And also, I'm super proud of you for getting through it and honoring yourself and loving yourself and continuing to choose you above anyone and everything else, because it is a choice, and you've chosen to heal, and you've chosen to grow, and you've chosen to plant new seeds and write new stories for your life, and that's a huge deal, and I wish you would give yourself more credit for it. I'm also saying it to myself because I know it's easier said than done, but
Yes.
really, you're doing great, and you have done a lot of healing and growth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.